Welcome to Lead with Clarity. This is a space for leaders who want to grow without losing themselves in the process. Each episode is a short reflection on leadership, influence, and the inner work that shapes how we show up for others. It's not hype, not noise, just clear thinking for the journey of leading well. Today's episode is entitled, What Adversity Reveals Leading with Clarity Under Pressure. Here we go. There's a question I ask every leader I work with at some point in our coaching relationship. Not early on, not when things are going well, but when something hard has happened, when a decision backfired, when a team fractured, when the market shifted and the plan no longer held. The question is simple. What did this reveal about you? Most leaders pause when they hear it. We're trained to focus on outcomes, what happened, what we did, what the numbers say. But the more important data point is almost always what the pressure surfaced about who we are. Schultz said something that I believe every leader needs to sit with. He said, in times of adversity and change, we really discover who we are and what we're made of. Schultz was not speaking abstractly. He led Starbucks through its first major crisis. He came back years later to lead it through another. He built something that outlasted the circumstances that tried to break it. And his reflection on that experience was not about the turnaround strategy. It was about identity. It was about what the crucible of leadership brought to the surface. I worked with a leader on that called Bobby. He was a regional VP at a mid-sized company when a significant restructuring was announced. His team was uncertain. His peers were protecting their own. His executive sponsor had gone quiet. Bobby had two choices. He could manage optics and wait for clarity from above, or he could lead with what he actually believed. He chose the second path. He called his team together. He did not pretend to have all the answers. He told them what he knew, what he did not know, and what he would not compromise on regardless of how the restructuring shook out. His team did not need him to have all the answers. They needed to see who he was when the stakes were real, and that's what Schultz is talking about. Here's where many leaders get this wrong. They treat adversity as an interruption, a detour from the real work of leadership, something to survive and move past so they can get back to building, growing, leading. But that framing misses the entire point. Adversity is not a detour. It's a diagnostic. It tells you, and everyone around you, what you're actually made of. Not what your resume says, not what the performance review reflects. What you do when it costs something to lead with integrity. The leaders I've coached who navigate change most effectively share a common trait. They've already done the internal work. They know their values. They've thought through their non-negotiables before a crisis forces the conversation. So when adversity arrives, and it always does, they're not discovering themselves in real time. They're expressing something they already know. That is not confidence in the arrogant sense. It's groundedness. It's the difference between a leader who performs calm and a leader who actually has it. People can feel that difference. Teams can sense it within the first few minutes of a difficult conversation. Schultz rebuilt Starbucks because he knew what Starbucks was supposed to be. He had clarity about the mission before the pressure arrived, and that clarity became his anchor. So here's a question worth sitting with this week. If adversity arrived tomorrow, not hypothetically, but actually, what would it reveal about you? Would your team see a leader who retreated to process and optics, or would they see someone who got quieter, clearer, and more grounded under pressure? You don't have to wait for a crisis to answer that question. You can begin answering it now. You can examine your past responses. You can name your values out loud before they're tested. You can think through what you will not compromise and what you're willing to say when a room full of people is looking at you for something real. That preparation is not weakness. It's the work of serious leadership. Schultz gave us a gift with that observation. He reminded us that adversity is not the enemy of great leadership. It is, in many ways, its greatest teacher. The leaders who endure, who build teams that last, and organizations that outlive any single crisis, are the ones who did not wait for pressure to tell them who they were. They knew, and when the moment came, they led from that knowing. That is the standard. Not perfection, not certainty, but clarity about who you are, long before the world demands that you prove it.